Hello and welcome to the real streets of crime. Today we will be looking at a notorious Manchester gang. The Gooch Youngers. These dramatic moments show ruthless hitmen going on the rampage, with a submachine gun as police give a talk on gun crime just yards away. Fitness fanatics were working out in the packed gym of a leisure center when the three hoodlums calmly walked into the weights room and pulled out a checkmate 9mm Scorpion machine pistol, which can fire up to 1,000 rounds a minute. Bizarrely, the incident took place as two beat bobbies were giving a talk to gym users about gun crime and community safety in the room next door. The gunmen terrorized visitors at the Moss Side Leisure Centre in Manchester before shooting and injuring a man. They were told three armed and highly dangerous gunmen were bringing terror to gym users and raised the alarm. As the unarmed PCs called for backup and investigated, they spotted the hitmen leaving the center. An injured 23-year-old man then came out of the weights room still in his gym gear and clutching a head wound. He had been punched, threatened with a gun and pistol whipped over the head. Inquiries revealed the gangsters, one of whom was just 17, were leading members. The gunmen terrorized visitors at the Moss Side Leisure Centre in Manchester before shooting and injuring a man. Some of the infamous Gooch Close gang, which has terrorized the South Manchester area for the past 2 decades. One of the mobsters had recently got out of jail after serving 20 months over a gun battle in a hospital corridor. Today, Gooch Close enforcer Antonio Wint, 21, of Stamford Street, Old Trafford, was jailed for an indeterminate period after pleading guilty to possessing a firearm with intent to endanger life. He must serve 4 years and 250 days. Andre Marshall, 22, of Brantingham Road, Whalley Range, pleaded guilty to possessing a prohibited firearm and assault causing actual bodily harm. He was jailed for 7 years. Passing sentence at Manchester Crown Court Judge Anthony GQC said, "The victim must have been absolutely terrified and feared he was about to be shot." Antonio Wint, Waqas Farouk and Andre Marshall went on a gun rampage in a packed leisure center in Manchester last year. This weapon was small and compact, yet capable of being fired to deadly and devastating effect. This court has often said that the conviction anyone for firearms offenses must expect long sentences in custody to deter others who may be minded to commit similar offenses. The firearm was particularly dangerous and was capable of firing many rounds within seconds. There is a significant risk of you committing further offenses of violence in the future and serious harm being caused to the public. The incident occurred at about 1:15 p.m. on July 3, 2007, when a group of Greater Manchester police officers were at the Moss Side Leisure Centre, Manchester, giving a talk about safety in the area and gun crime. Suddenly, gym users burst into the meeting and told police there were men in the weights room with a gun. As the officers called for backup, they saw some men leave the center and get into a green Subaru Impreza. Meanwhile, 23-year-old man Solomon Sullivan, who had been involved in a feud with Wint, emerged injured from the room. He had been punched several times while a man holding a machine gun had pointed it at him and cocked it, as if planning to shoot. The victim was then hit over the head with the gun. The officers at the leisure center passed information to the elite armed police squad's Caliber, which deals with firearms offenses. They immediately recognized the description of the car and spotted Wint. Marshall and the 17-year-old were seen fleeing an address on Wyvern Road in Whalley Range about 20 minutes after the gun incident at the gym. The Subaru was parked outside this house, and officers arrested all three men after a short chase down an alleyway. Marshall had a balaclava in his pocket, and just prior to his arrest, Wint had been spotted throwing a plastic bag onto a nearby roof. Inside the bag, police found the fully loaded 9mm automatic machine gun. The rear number plate from the Subaru was also recovered on the other side of a wall in the alleyway. The car itself was later seized, and a bullet was found in the front passenger footwell. Inquiries revealed Wint had been jailed for 20 months in 2005 after Gooch close mobster clashed with thugs from the rival Longsight crew on the corridors of Manchester Royal Infirmary after 2 gang members were admitted to hospital with gunshot wounds. Detective Sergeant Rick Collins, who conducted the investigation into the gymnasium incident, said, "These 3 offenders armed themselves and walked calmly into a busy gym in the middle of the day, with no regard for people's safety. Their arrogance is astonishing, but we have proved they are not above the law, and our streets are definitely safer now that they are in jail." The actions of the unarmed PCs who responded to radio calls for backup and arrested Wint and Marshall should be commended. They showed real bravery in apprehending these men, whilst knowing that they could be armed. They played a crucial role in bringing these offenders to justice. That Sergeant Chris Downey from Greater Manchester Police Calibre Task Force said, "The gun that Wint, Marshall and their accomplice used in this incident, a 9mm Scorpion machine pistol, was not only lethal but unusual. When we test-fired it after it was seized, we were shocked at its power. This weapon being taken off the streets is a significant success of this case. These men are exactly the sort of people that we XTF focuses its attention on. We are determined to pursue those who have absolutely no regard for other members of their community, those who carry loaded dangerous guns around, and take them into community centers where people should be allowed to go without worrying about their safety. Lots of children use the center these men walked into that day, and it sickens me to think what could have happened here. Much of our success in tackling gun crime is owed to the people in the community who stand shoulder to shoulder with us in our desire to rid our streets of guns and those who use them. The successes we have made were not achieved alone, and I hope that today's result continues to inspire people's confidence in our attempts to make the street safer for everyone." Waqas Farouk, 23, of North Leigh Road, Old Trafford, was convicted of perverting the course of justice after he coerced false witnesses to give evidence about this incident to police. He was jailed for 3.5 years at an earlier hearing. The 17-year-old, who is too young to be named, pleaded guilty to violent disorder and was ordered to complete a community punishment and rehabilitation order. Sadly for Andre Marshall, when he was released from prison, he was killed in a hail of bullets from the gun of Abdul Hassan. I will now tell you how this incident unfolded. Soon after the shooting, Abdul Hassan, of Upper Chorlton Road, Old Trafford, was arrested on suspicion of Marshall's murder. Hassan skipped bail and disappeared following his arrest. In November 2015, Shahid and Rivers were arrested on suspicion of assisting an offender. Detective Chief Inspector Sarah Jones of the Major Incident Team said, "Daniel Shahid and Cadell Rivers have today been sentenced following an extensive investigation and, in Shahid's case, a full trial. Andre Marshall was murdered in cold blood." Murder suspect Abdul Qadir Ashan, 19, has been on the run since July 2015. He was arrested in Pakistan. He also tried to seek bail following his arrest. In his petition, Hassan adopted before the court that he was not involved in the said murder, but was implicated in the case since his blood stains were found in Marshall's car during the forensic test. Hassan was of the view that he was repairing the door light of Marshall's car when his hand got injured and some blood stains dropped in the car. The petition said that Hassan was summoned by the local police on July 23 and then was released on bail. He, however, flew to Pakistan since he was being harassed in the UK. In June 2017, UK government formally requested Pakistani authorities for Hassan's extradition, and Hassan was taken into custody on July 2018 and had been in the Adiala jail since then. The gangland fugitive was being hunted over the cold-blooded execution of a friend of former Manchester United footballer Ravel Morrison. Abdul vanished after Underworld Mr. Big, Andre Marshall, 29, was pistol-whipped and shot dead when he was ambushed in his BMW during a rendezvous near a Garden of Remembrance. His body was found lying beneath a tree outside St. Clement's Church in Urmston. The motive for May 2015 killing arose out of the dead man being owed £1,600. Flowers were left and a not read, "R.I.P. brother gone but never forgotten." Only 2 days ago we made plans, how you could get rich. The murder weapon thought to be a .45 Colt semi-automatic pistol was never traced. The victim, a father of one, had been an enforcer for Manchester's infamous Gooch close gang, which has fought a bloody drugs war with other mobs across the city for the past 3 decades. Police believe Austin was being driven around by Marshall before opening fire on his target from the front passenger seat when the BMW 3 Series was parked outside the church. 4 initial shots were fired from inside the car before the front seat passenger got out, then finished off Marshall as he lay on the ground. Tests showed Marshall was blasted 7 times in the torso and legs and also had a fractured skull, consistent with a heavy blow to the head from the gun. Austin jumped back into the BMW and drove off, nearly crashing into an oncoming Ford Transit van before dumping the car nearby. Detective Sarah Jones said. Officers were alerted by a local who spotted the body. We made a number of house-to-house enquiries and we searched the CCTV. We found a parked car around the corner from where Andre was found, and we believe he was in the car prior to his death. During the forensic examination we recovered casings which came from the bullets, but they weren't all there in accordance with the injuries Andre received. We believe somebody had collected some of the casings in an effort to delay the investigation. Andre was also subject to forensics examination himself. He was hit on the head with a weapon. He was in contact with the person responsible for his death. He was shot around 7 times in his back and his side. There was severe internal bleeding to both lungs and the heart. He would have died rather quickly. His skull was fractured and there was evidence of brain injury. I believe a self-loading pistol was involved in the shooting and the beating, which was pistol whipping. The 3 men went on a £700 shopping spree at the Emporio Armani store at the Trafford Centre shopping complex before returning to the murder scene to mingle with onlookers. Drops of Austin's blood was found in the BMW after he accidentally injured his left thumb while firing the gun in a 2-handed grip. This story is ongoing. Thanks for joining me today. For more stories from the real streets of crime, please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you.